Oh, that's the Queen alien. It's a lost cause. The planet is a tax write-off, okay, at this point? Generic intro into that goes me. Here back with some more kill counts. Today we're doing two movies by a franchise that I know pretty much nothing about other than that they had a movie where they fought against predators in Alien vs. Predator. But today we're doing Alien from 1979 and Aliens, which is the sequel for 1986. You can check my reaction to the last video, which was Trick or Treat, which is a movie I had never heard of, but it actually seemed really enjoyable, and I enjoyed that kill count a lot, and apparently so did a lot of people based off the comments. You check my reaction to that video, I'll leave it right up there. Also link down below in the description. Also in a place on my channel with all my other kill counts going in chronological order. If you want to binge watch through all of them, me watching movies, most of which I have never even seen before, so it's the first time I'm being introduced to them via the kill counts, and there's actually been a lot of movies I would actually enjoy if I watched them, and actually want to watch some of them now. But this is gonna be Alien, and then there's gonna be Aliens. I don't think there was a death battle involving aliens or something like that. I don't think I've done a nostalgia critic video involving aliens, so this is gonna be completely new territory for me, and I don't really like scary movies, so I'm not really sure. I've seen like the memes, they have like the really long heads or elongated heads, and I think like their tongue has like a mouth or something like that. Like I said, I'm almost completely blind on this. Shout out to the patrons because they get the videos a day early. A lot of time a paywall channel could not do this if it was not for them. They get all the videos a day early, and that's why you see some comments on there that are older than the video itself. But let's go ahead and jump into Alien from 1979. All right. I'm going to this pretty much completely blind to the Aliens franchise. I know they had a movie where they fought predators.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Alien, released in 1979,
which is
potentially the most influential film I'll ever talk about on the Kill Count.
What?
I mean, this shit's preserved in the Library of Congress. Despite its obvious science fiction setting and subject matter, Alien is just as much a horror film as it is sci-fi.
Is this actually from 79?
The structure of a murderer stalking down a group of people until there's only one survivor left. Just in this case, the murderer is an extraterrestrial, and the group of victims is the crew of a spaceship. Alien launched the careers of many involved into full-blown stardom, including director Ridley Scott and star Sigourney Weaver, who plays the iconic character Ellen Ripley. Weaver would reprise the role in all three of the original Alien sequels, which I'll be covering over the course of this month. The sequels quickly become more action than horror, and eventually get pretty freaking ridiculous. But all of them and everything else in this universe, the comics, the games, the novels, can be traced back to this film and the original characters that got murdered so memorably. So let's pay some respects and get to the kills.
Also, I should be starting Deltarune today for the very first time ever, going in completely blind at 5 p.m. on Twitch.
The Nostromo and the giant hall
30 minutes after this video goes
back
live.
home towards Earth. Everything aboard the ship is quiet as a space mouse, since the crew is fast asleep in their hibernation beds. That is, until the ship receives a message and tells its crew to rise and shine. This zombie-looking fella is Kane, and he's doing a perfect imitation of what I look like every morning when I wake up for work. In fact, since we've only got a 7-person crew here, let's meet them all real quick. Like I said,
only
the
7?
early bird of the group is
so
Kane.
I'm guessing the kill count's going to be 6?
John Hurt. Fellow Brit Ian
7 including the alien?
Plays Science Officer Ash. There are 2 technicians, Chief Engineer Parker, played by Mr. Big himself, Yaphet Kotto, while the late Harry Dean Stanton plays Brett, whose thing is always saying right. Right, Brett?
Right.
The navigator is Lambert, played by Veronica Cartwright in a role that won her a Saturn, and the captain of this hunk of junk is Dallas, played by Tom Skerritt's Beard. And of course there's Ripley herself, who is the third in command. After a wake-up meal, Dallas goes to his little bright light cubbyhole and talks to the ship's AI, named Mother, where he learns that their alarm went off way too early and that they're nowhere near Earth. Whoa.
Only halfway there.
Whoa, they're living on a prayer. All because Mother intercepted a beacon signal, although it's unclear who it's from or what it means.
And that's why it woke them
resistance
up.
From the technicians, Ash says the crew is contractually obligated to the company to go check it out. They detach from their payload and land the Nostromo on the planet that the signal is coming from. But the landing rocks the boat baby, and while it doesn't tip the boat over, it does damage it pretty bad. The tech crew tells the others
they're gonna be stuck on a planet.
It's 17 hours, fella.
At least 25 hours.
Like 25.
Well, that's going on. Might as well go check out that signal, right?
Right.
So Dallas, Kane, and Lambert suit up and venture out to the inhospitable surface of this rock as Ash and his spirit fingers guides them from the bridge. They discover a crashed ship that kind of looks like a wishbone, like the bone, not the delightful storytelling dog. And determined to get some sweet marrow, they head inside and find a truly awesome image. This oversized alien dubbed the Space Jockey by fans, looking like he's trying to find a new planet or something. It appears as though he's been dead for a while, like possibly
great resolution for its age.
An acute case of hole in the chest.
Bones have been outward, like he exploded from inside.
While Lambert and Dallas play coroner, Kane finds a big old hole in the ground. He rappels down it and into a gigantic freaking chamber that's got some crazy blue stuff squiggling all over some eggs.
There's a layer of mist just
covering the eggs.
Something in the mist! And that something is
The mist.
Kane, whose clumsy ass fell inside, right next to a whole bunch of them eggs. While he's checking them out, one of them blossoms like a beautiful butterfly. And as Kane
But
peers inside,
did
he gets
he
a face full of aliens.
awaken
when the
them?
newborn creature jumps out and gets friendly. Meanwhile, back
But
on the
he has a
Nostromo,
spacesuit
Ripley
on.
decodes some of the transmission and discovers that it's not an SOS
It's
signal.
binary.
It looks like a warning.
Ash
No?
prevents her from
Well,
going
it
out
is
and warning
obviously
the
binary,
others,
but-
saying it'll take too long, and he's not wrong since they're back pretty soon thereafter. Dallas and Lambert tell Ripley to let them in, but when they mention the organism sucking face with Kane, she brings up a good point.
If we let it in, the ship could be infected. You know the quarantine procedure.
Dallas tries to order her to open the doors, but she stands her ground like a total boss until she's undercut by Ash, who opens the hatch for them on his own. They saw Kane's
And-
helmet in half, but when they remove the pieces, the facehugger alien
Oh,
tightens its grip.
it's
Same
a head
thing
crab.
happens when they try to pry off those nasty-looking crab legs. It just hugs Kane harder to show how much he loves him. A scan shows the alien is keeping Kane alive by feeding him oxygen, and although Ash kind of wants to just let the thing be, Dallas insists on taking a laser to it so they can free Kane's face. That just results in some nasty yellow blood that appears to be acidic.
Very.
Through the hull.
That thing's gonna eat through the goddamn hull. Come on!
They chase it down layer by layer and find that it's thankfully stopped short of giving the Nostromo a free new porthole. Dallas tries to
Yeah, no,
send
that'd be
out
real
some
bad.
classical music, but he's called to the med bay because Kane's face is looking awfully bald all of a sudden. Y'all gonna go leave him lots of comments too? After a brief surge, the
What?
alien falls from the ceiling onto Ripley, but it appears to be dead, with nothing left to offer but some post-mortem reflexes. Ripley wants to jettison the corpse, but Ash insists they hold on to it for science?
No, no,
Ripley
you
tries
should
to get Dallas
definitely.
to agree with
I mean,
her,
they're
but he says
scientists.
Ash is a company man and that they've got to follow the
Lock it away
company
somewhere
plan.
safe.
Procedures.
What has
Do
acids? You
what the hell
can't.
they tell you to do.
He also mentions Ash was a last-minute replacement of Dallas's usual science officer. With the ship repaired, they take off from the planetoid
one has
and
it-
connect
it-
back to their
issues
moneymaker
there.
so they can shake it back to Earth. Kane appears to be doing much better, despite a little bit of memory loss, so everything is great. Have a round
Wait,
of
he's
smiles on
okay
the mouth,
after that?
Nostromo crew. It'll be the last time you're able to, because while eating a pre-Betty Bye meal, Kane starts coughing, and it's not because of Dallas's cooking. Nope, he's just rearing up for one of the most memorable scenes in film history.
Ugh.
As a phallic-looking alien
Ugh.
bursts from his chest,
Ugh.
and blood all over everyone else, and giving us our first kill of the movie nearly a
Ugh.
full hour in. And just like that,
1
this movie
hour?
became a classic. This thing is obviously one nasty bitch, but when Parker goes to kill it, Ash freaks out like someone stole his ring. Chesty the chestburster makes his getaway, leaving the crew to say
What?
some
Why
goodbye
did
to
it
their
run away
fallen
like
crewmate
that?
by giving him a burial at space. They then arm themselves up with cattle prods and nets and this nozzle thing that makes it look like they're about to blow up an air mattress for the alien to crash on.
That's
The nozzle box
actually
is supposed
so
to help them
accurate.
locate the alien, but when it starts going off, the only thing Ripley and the techs manage to find is Jonesy the cat. Space
Aw.
cat. He's meowing
God, I
in
miss
space.
my cat.
Parker
He was
tells Brett to
orange.
go
He was
get
so
the cat so
orange.
they won't pick it up on the tracker again, and wandering off by yourself right now sure seems like a great idea, right?
Right.
So Brett leaves them and begins another memorable sequence as he searches for Jonesy. During his search, he finds some nasty skin on the ground and some water dripping from
It's
the room that
already-
he wound up reusing for Hellraiser Bloodline. I had to look up where the water was coming from because I was so grossed out by the way Brett friggin' baptizes himself in it. But I guess it's just condensation from cooling towers. Still feels
Oh.
nasty. When Brett finally
Makes
finds
sense.
Jonesy hiding by a wall, the full-grown alien drops behind him and lifts up
How
a big
did it
old
grow
gun.
that
Brett
fast?
turns around to become our second kill of the film, getting impaled by the alien's second set of teeth that shoot out of his mouth like a powerful little piston. Jonesy watches it all go down.
Why is the cat
trademarking
happy
passivity
about it?
of a cat. The rest of the crew
Yeah.
figures out that the alien is using the air ducts to move around, so Dallas volunteers to chase him out into
With
an airlock so
open
they can
fire.
blast him into space. As they monitor his progress on an Atari screen, they also pick up a signal on the alien.
It's moving right towards you.
Lambert tells Dallas to move, but he heads the wrong
well,
way.
I mean, everybody dies but
Arms
Ripley.
of an alien. Now's a good time to mention that I'm working from the theatrical release, so don't expect to see Cocoon Dallas later. Lambert wants to take the shuttle and escape the ship, but Ripley says it won't support the 4 remaining survivors, so they're gonna stick to Dallas's plan. And since she's now in command, they've got to do what she said. Her promotion also wins her access to the VIP Bright Light room, where she has a mother-daughter talk and finds out that the ship was rerouted specifically to pick the alien up and bring it back
What?
to the company for science?
Wait, the
Ooh,
company
then
did it?
when Ash peekaboo's behind her, she will manhandles him so roughly he starts bleeding out milk? What? Then he attacks Ripley, tearing her hair out and just throwing her around. Which
Oh.
should tell us something's up since she's got at least 6 inches on him easy. He takes a rolled up
Wait,
magazine
really?
and tries to kill her with it like he's the world's worst dog owner, but Parker shows up to get him off of her. Ash gives him a titty twister, so Parker pays him back by hitting him with a pipe, which causes the science officer to start whirling like a dervish and spitting up milk like a drunk newborn. Parker hits
What?
him once more and decapitates him, revealing that Ash is no man.
It's a robot.
What do you mean it's a robot?
They hotwire his head so they can be like, what the fuck, man? But he just tells them they're straight up bone because that alien is a perfect organism.
Words purity.
Alright, dude, sounding a little master race there, so how
Wait.
about we just shut it down?
So
Make
they
sure
didn't
he's
know their
clean
friend was a
and decommissioned.
robot?
Parker torches his robot corpse with a flamethrower. And I'll add Ash to the list because he was practically a person.
android.
Just, you know, with milk, blood, and a head you could hotwire. With one less body to support, they decide to go with Lambert's plan to evacuate on the shuttle, but only after setting the Nostromo to self-destruct.
I mean,
Ripley
there's-
preps the shuttle, which
Well, the
includes
android
tracking
wouldn't
down
take food.
Jonesy and putting him in his little space carrier.
Aw.
As Lambert and Parker go get coolant that they'll need for the shuttle's life support. But the alien strongly opposes life, and he shows up and freaks Lambert out so much he's unable to move or do anything. Parker
So she
charges
just
in to
stands
save
there?
her, but the alien knocks him down and bares its teeth.
She was ready to
Parker's killed
leave,
like
but
Brett with the
when
alien's
face to
second
face,
mouth.
she just
The alien then
doesn't
turns
try.
towards Lambert and very suggestively extends his tail and wraps it around her leg. This is the last shot we see of Lambert, who we hear screaming through the ship as Ripley runs to save her. When she gets there, she only finds a dangling leg. This death may seem a little jarring because it was actually put together during editing after they ran out of time to shoot the original idea for her death. Ripley presses onward
He
with the
ran
plan
out
to
of
nuke the
time.
Nostromo, activating the self-destruct sequence that'll only give her 10 minutes to get back to the
That's a
shuttle
really
and
short
abandon
amount of
ship. Sucks
time.
for her then when there's a freaking alien in her way. But don't blame him, he's just jonesing for another kill. Ripley's determined not to give it to him, running back through the Nostromo to try to control Z, that whole self-destruct idea. But she's too late.
Why does it
Mother
take 5
says
minutes
no
now?
take-backs. It's like she caught Ripley smoking a cigarette, and now she's gonna smoke the whole ship. With no other option available, Ripley makes her way
A
back to the
flamethrower,
shuttle.
of course.
Turns out to be easier than expected because that alien's nowhere to be found. She takes off in the shuttle.
It's on the
watching
shuttle.
her rear view mirror as the Nostromo and its payload have a supernova-like explosion that winds up giving us a little Stargate-looking sequence. Yep, things seem to
really
be
blew up
looking
that
for
big.
old Ellen Ripley. And Jonesy too, who gets settled into a pod for a little catnap. But then the alien shows its hand and reveals he's a goddamn stowaway on the shuttle. Looks like he's nestled
Which
up
is
real
not
close in
good.
there, just sliming over everything as he pleases.
Ew, why
As
is
the
this
alien
slimy?
shows off his talents for Ripley, she gears up in a spacesuit and grabs a harpoon gun. Then she flushes the
Why do you
alien
have a
out of his
harpoon gun
special
in
place,
space?
getting him nice and free, then opens the shuttle and blasts the alien into space. He tries to hang in there, baby, but she shoots him with her harpoon, hitting him in the gut and finally getting that
But a
alien
harpoon
out of
gun
there. Then
has-
the gun gets
yeah,
stuck in the
that.
door, leaving this buggy bastard tethered to the shuttle. Ripley
But on
watches
the
as he
outside.
tries to get back in by way of thruster, but she
It could
punches
survive
and
in
burns him away,
space?
incinerating him in the engine blasts and ending her nightmare once and for all. I've decided not to include the alien on the count because I've seen the sequels and I don't want to count all the xenomorphs that die in those. Sue me. Ripley ends her
Oh, well,
adventure with
okay.
a captain's log,
I don't know,
supplemental,
yeah.
saying that everyone else on board is dead.
This is Ripley,
of
last
course.
survivor of the Nostromo.
My neighbor's
Signing
cutting
off.
grass.
She finishes and goes to sleep for
Lovely.
one well-deserved rest and stasis. Someone better have a cup of coffee for her when she wakes up. Hope she's able to sleep all right
I
after
don't-
seeing all her friends
I was about to
die
say,
like
how
that.
can you
How
sleep?
exactly were killed? Let's find out.
Knowing the
Get
last
to
time you
know.
woke up, that happened.
5
I
people
guess-
and an android died in Alien, tying child's play for our lowest kill count to date. Of the victims, 4 were human men, 1 was a human woman, and Ash was a douchey android. That's, you know, this ratio. Whatever. At a
yeah, I
runtime
don't-
of
yeah.
117 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 19.5 minutes. I believe our slowest rate yet. Correct me if I'm
But it wasn't
wrong.
really-
Golden
so-
Chainsaw
it
for
wasn't a
first
movie
kill
that's all
has to
about
go
that.
to
It's like
King.
a-
I knew
I
it,
guess a
you knew it,
survival-
we all knew it. Yeah, Ash's death is dope as hell too, but just in terms of legendary scenes, there's nothing in this series that'll compare to this kill. Dalmache for lamest kill will go to Dallas, who gets killed off screen in what is possibly just a big old alien hug. And that's it.
It
Alien
just
was
sticks out
released
its
in
arms.
1979, and
I gotta
can't
say,
really
the
much
effects
more
look
about the
really
impact
good.
of that, so I won't. I will say I never saw any of the sequels until watching them for this series, so you'll get my
Huh.
fresh opinion on Aliens when I go over that next week. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count.
Okay.
Hey, thanks a lot for watching my Kill Count for Alien. I want to thank some of
Now
my
we're gonna
patrons
do
like
Aliens.
Christopher Walter, William Shannon, and Brandon Espenia. Guys, I had no idea all the lore that goes into the Alien movie.
Is
To be
there a lot of
honest,
lore?
I'm feeling vastly underprepared to cover this series, but I'm gonna do it. It's just so much to
James.
learn. Like this guy isn't even from Alien. He's from Alien Covenant, which is maybe different. I don't know. Don't fucking spoil it for me.
Oh? Okay, so because it has that warning, tells me that maybe there's something wrong in this
Welcome to
episode,
the
and
Kill
maybe
Count, where we
I
tally
might
up the
blur it
victims
at
in all
some
our
point.
favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at
Or
Aliens,
censor some
the
things.
1986 sequel to Alien,
If
written
I
and
think
directed
it's
by James
what
Cameron.
would be the
Aliens
issue,
follows
but in
Ellen
the past
Ripley
there's
after
been
she's rescued
ones
from
that weren't.
hypersleep and brought back to civilization. She ends up joining a marine mission to the same planetoid she found the original alien on, determined to destroy the species once and for all. Cameron wrote this sequel to focus, quote, more on terror, less on horror, and the change in tone is apparent. This is much more an action sci-fi film than the quiet, dreadful stalking of the original, serving as a sort of allegory for the Vietnam War, with technologically superior and confident Marines getting outmatched by what they see as an inferior enemy. Aliens is
They
like
see them
the
as
original, though, and
inferior?
that's a really freaking good movie. It got 7 Academy Award nominations, including one for Sigourney Weaver, which is a rarity for a genre film like this. And of course, it's got way more aliens, which means way more kills. So let's find out how many.
And way more cast. Because the last one you were kind of maxed
The
out.
movie begins in Space! Ripley's still fast asleep when her shuttle gets picked
Portal
up by
2 is
another
such a good
ship.
game.
A movie projector-looking robot comes in and finds her and Jonesy in the middle of a damn good cuddle sesh. Space cat. He's napping in space. Then Ripley turns into Mother Earth because now she's back home. Or
that was a cool
close enough.
transition.
She's at Gateway Station, which orbits Earth, and it turns out she's doing okay. She gets a visit from Jonesy and Steve Carter Burke, who says he works for Wayland Yutani, the shadowy company referenced in the original film.
Don't let that fool you. I'm really an okay guy.
Ripley is
I miss my
She
cat
also
so
drops
much.
the bombshell that she's been in stasis for 57 years, having shot past the core systems and only picked up by a deep salvage team by chance. Then she starts convulsing in a very John Hurdian manner and lifts up her shirt to find that she is with Alien. But not really,
it's a nightmare.
since it's just a dream. Well, more like a nightmare since Jonesy was all pissed off at her in it. But no worries. In the
Why?
waking world, Jonesy loves her just as much as ever. Good kitty. Good time to point out I'm once again working from the theatrical cut, so nothing about Ripley's dead daughter or the colonist scenes are going to be in here. During a meeting with company higher-ups, they play an
What do you
in-memoriam
mean?
PowerPoint
Was
for the
there was-
Nostromo crew and yell at Ripley for blowing up that
Is it a
expensive
comic,
payload
or is there
they
another-
The ship logs show how it landed
I guess
on
it'd be a comic
LV-426, the name given to the planetoid with the wishbone ship, but Corporate Man says there was no evidence of an alien and that this supposed species has never been reported before. When Ripley tells him to check it out for himself, he says there's no need because colonists have been terraforming it for 20 years now with no complaints. After some time, Ripley gets a visit.
That's a trap.
This is Lieutenant Gorman of the Colonial Marine Corps.
Burke gets his way back in by saying they've lost contact with the colonists on LV-426.
Oh,
and that
really?
They want
I wonder
Ripley to
why.
go with him, Lieutenant Gorman, and a group of Marines to see what's going on. She says no at first, but later on hits up Burke on Omegle to tell him she'll go, as long as the mission
Omegle.
is to destroy the alien.
That's the plan. You have my word on it.
All right, she's in. She leaves Jonesy behind and blasts into
Aw,
space
Jonesy would be
again,
safe.
where there's a whole list of future victims sleeping in hibernation beds. They wake up and get straight to character work, chomping on cigars and doing pull-ups to display physical fortitude.
that's
The crew this time
wild.
around is a lot bigger than an alien, but let's meet the important characters real fast. The sergeant of the grunts is Apone, who's got a voice that sounds like it's straight from an old LP.
Fall in, people. Come on.
Corporal Hicks
He
is
looks
the
like,
generic-looking dude
what's
who
his face
winds
from
up being
Halo.
real important. Private Vasquez is this tough lady grunt, and she has a close relationship with fellow big gunner Drake, like the please slap me a little harder kind. The late Bill Paxton plays Hudson, an outspoken private.
Was
Big
it
Mouth gets in
Sergeant
trouble
Johnson?
when he asks technician Bishop to do a knife trick. As Drake holds Hudson in place, Bishop gets dancing.
Oh! That's talented.
Bishop heads back over to the grown-ups table
Wow.
with Burke and Gorman, where Ripley learns that he's a synthetic, aka an android.
I prefer the term artificial person myself.
Okay, artificial person. Whatever the term is, Ripley ain't having it, having formed a bit of a prejudice from that whole magazine-to-the-mouth ordeal with Ash.
And
During a
that's
mission
why
briefing,
he was
newbie
able to do the
Lieutenant
knife
Gorman
thing.
fails to obtain the respect from his grunts, and Ripley warns them all about the xenomorph's efficiency. The Marines start loading up for the mission with this power loader suit that was done with all practical effects, so it looks frickin' amazing. Things so fine, Ripley can't help but slide into it real nice and show off her skills operating.
It looks like a
Wins
silverback
the respect
from
of Apone and Hicks.
Gears
They're going to
of
be
War.
traveling down to the planet in an APC designed by Lucius Fox, so they load into it, and Bishop drives it onto the shuttle piloted by Corporal Farrow and Private Spunkmeyer. The shuttle drops from the ship and breaks through the newly formed atmosphere of LV-426 with the line
I
from
guess
Farrow
they
that was
were
later used in
they were
StarCraft.
formed
We're in the pipe.
the atmosphere.
I don't know what that means, but I played a lot of StarCraft as a kid, and that was exciting to hear. During their descent, Gorman reveals
Know
that this
nothing
is
about
only a second
StarCraft.
actual mission, provoking more ire from his subordinates. Farrow drops the APC off and flies away, and the Marines unload to check out the colony, named Hadley's Hope.
Oh,
leaving
now
the
those
less
mean
combating
suits, yeah.
flight crew to watch on monitors. Inside the colony, things look pretty rough, and although there are no life forms or movement getting picked up by their sensors, they do find evidence of nastiness in the form of a hole in the floor, which corroborates Ripley's tale of the alien.
Acid for blood.
Gorman says the area is secure,
Uh-huh.
and despite
Oh,
Ripley
is
being
it?
like, nah, it ain't, they head inside anyway, finding evidence of a barrier and a last stand against whatever attack REKT wrecked this place. They do find a pretty big clue in the form of a bunch of face huggers and tubes, kept there for study by the colonists. Two of them
Oh,
are still alive,
okay,
giving
so
us
they're
a good
well
look at
aware.
it. Oh shit, am I allowed to show this? Because it looks like a P coming out of a V. Yeah, let's just cover that up from now on. Their motion
Yeah,
trackers
I'm
finally pick
probably
something up.
gonna
It
try
turns out
and
to be a feral-looking
censor that.
kid who
Oh,
Ripley
why is there a
follows to
kid?
hiding place that's so messy it might very well have a Dianoga hanging out down there. The girl's name is Rebecca, but her friends call her Newt. Tell us about your family, Newt.
They're dead.
Wow.
Alright, can I go now?
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry. They scan for data transmitters that all the colonists had implanted in them and locate them all in a single location on the third sublevel. They get down there and either the colonists had some weird interior decorators or they've got an alien problem. Ripley realizes
I think
that they're
there might be an
directly
alien
underneath the
problem.
coolant system for the colony's fusion reactor and that any breach would cause a nuclear meltdown. So Apone collects everyone's rounds even though a few little
Any
troublemakers
breach,
hold on to some
nuclear
contraband for
meltdown.
themselves, just
Oh,
in case. They get to their
that's
target
a
destination
design.
and find two bodies in cocoons. They see these two clearly. Let's say it's one dude and one lady. So I'll go ahead and add them to the list. But just so you know, no, I won't be including the 150-odd colonists who must have been killed off screen. Nor will I include dead aliens like these facehugger corpses or any of the multitudes of xenomorph warriors that get killed throughout this movie. I'm doing these things to have fun and make jokes, guys, not stare at slow motion footage and count exploding aliens all day. But don't worry, there's still plenty of kills to count.
Why are you
This
touching that with
lady
your bare
who wakes
hand?
up and begs the Marines to kill her. They don't listen, and instead a chestburster fulfills her request, popping out through her torso for a great little cameo, since this will be the only time we see a chestburster in this movie. They flame torch the hell out of that mess and kill the chestburster, so everything's good, right? Nah, dog, you got a real bad infestation of aliens that come out of the walls and abduct Private Dietrich, who winds up shooting off her flamethrower and catching Private Frost on fire, somewhat ironically. He falls over a ledge to his death many levels below. Looks like Frost got toasty. Dietrich is pulled up into the ceiling, and while they mention later that she's still showing signs of life on her measurement stuff, I'm gonna put her on the kill count here since it's the last time we see her. Amidst all the chaos going on, a pack with live ammunition is caught in the fire. It explodes and sends Private Crow across the room, breaking his neck and killing him unceremoniously, but let's be real, we're just thinning the herd right now. Same case with Private
literally,
Wierzbowski,
there's a lot of people, that's a
screen
name.
as Hicks calls after him. Why'd they name that guy Wierzbowski if they knew Hicks was gonna have to call out for him?
Wierzbowski! Wierzbowski!
Doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
No, it
Owen tries
doesn't.
to take control over the Marines and
Well,
stop
maybe
their
that's what they
firing,
thought
but
you
it
were
doesn't
gonna
do
be
any good. Even Apone has a hard time getting them under control, especially after an alien descends and grabs him. His monitor goes out and I'm chalking him up on the list. But again, like Dietrich, it sounds like the alien saved him for later and he likely wound up getting chest bursted. Frustrated with Gorman's
It seems like that's
Ripley
kind
takes
of
the wheel,
their
because apparently
whole
she's Batmobile
goal.
certified. She breaks the walls down, Chris Jericho style, so the grunts can all get rescued. But on their way out, Vasquez shoots a xenomorph that explodes and sprays Drake with his acid blood, melting his
that's
face
not
and
gonna be
putting him
good.
down for the 8th kill of the movie. Sad day for Vasquez. I really like their macho relationship that maybe was romantic, question mark. The remaining grunts get the heck out of there, and during Ripley's road rage, she ends up running over a xenomorph and crushing his head, which I only include here because it's dope as hell. Now that they're safe, Bill Paxton feels free to let loose with his character acting.
Dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man.
What?
This can't be happening.
There's
happening.
where's that
Ripley
acid
says she
at?
wants to take off
Oh,
and
it's on
nuke
his
the
arm.
planet.
It's the only way to be sure.
But Burke is an upstanding capitalist and doesn't want to destroy all the valuable equipment here. Ripley points out Corporal Hicks is now in charge.
It's a lost
since
cause.
The higher-ranking officers are all alien.
The
food,
planet
and he's
is
more
a
than
tax
happy to go
write-off,
with Ripley's
okay, at
plan.
this point?
It's the only way to be sure.
They call Pharaoh and ask for an evac, so she and Spunkmeyer prepare to take off. He finds some goop on the ramp, and I ain't talking about beauty products by Gwyneth Paltrow. This is the last shot we see of Spunky, so I'll add him to the list right now, because in a second, Pharaoh's gonna call for him on the radio and get no response. The Corporal doesn't Pharaoh much better, because on her way to the evac point, a xenomorph just waltzes into the room, and before she can grab a weapon to do anything about it, he kills her. And if it's one stereotype we all know is true, it's that xenomorphs are lousy pilots. As evidence, when the shuttle crashes,
They
and
also
burns,
seem to be
pretty much takes away any
pretty
hope for the
indestructible.
survivors.
That's it, man. Game over, man.
Ripley and co. bunker down and take stock of their supplies, knowing it's going to take 17 days for another evac to come for them. They find a way to secure their location by welding certain doors shut, and Hicks is so impressed by Ripley's badassery, he gives her a friendship bracelet which acts as a locator. But later on, when Ripley's putting Newt to bed, she re-gifts the bracelet to her. Rude. Ripley logics out that the aliens would need a face hugger for each colonist, and that each face hugger comes from an egg.
So who's laying these eggs?
When she tells Bishop to destroy the
Who is
remaining
laying
face
the
huggers,
eggs?
he tells her Burke explicitly ordered him not to so they could bring them home for profit. Also, Ripley finds out that Burke was the one who sent the colonists out to the Wishbone ship in the first place, single-handedly kicking off the destruction of Hadley's Hope. Bishop points out some emergency venting that means the fusion cooling system was damaged by the ship's crash, so in 4 hours there's going to be a nuke going off in their labs. There is another shuttle on board their spaceship, but the only working equipment to send a signal up there is far away, on the other side of the colony. So Bishop takes the opportunity to prove how not Ash he is by volunteering to crawl his ass down this pipeline like he's Android Dufresne. When he emerges out the other side, he plugs into a satellite dish.
Would the aliens attack him because he's a robot?
Other shuttle out of its bay. After she has a romantic
they seem intelligent, very intelligent.
Ripley checks in on Newt and has a slumber party with her under the bed. She wakes up later to see a mess on the ground, meaning someone's been creeping in the bedroom. Next thing you know, a facehugger attacks her, and although she puts it to bed for a mo, she's unable to get out since the doors to her room appear to be locked.
Who locked them?
Pretty chairproof. Her attempts at signaling the others through the Newt monitor in the room are ignored and turned off.
Why are they ignored?
Carter J. Burke, who at this point has completed a full heel turn. Ripley smartly gets everyone's attention by triggering the fire alarms, but the facehugger's still trying to get that thrusty, and probably would have gotten it if not for Hicks busting through the window and
what a
with the
hero.
other Marines saving her. Ripley figures out that Burke set the facehuggers loose on her and Newt to impregnate them and get alien embryos back home to make them dollars. They're all ready to execute him when the lights go out.
Why does this guy care so
Big
much?
act to begin. Ripley realizes the aliens have taken a higher path.
I don't think he owns the company, does he?
The aliens drop down and there's a huge firefight, which of course Burke runs from, locking the door behind him to block out the others. Hudson takes down a whole bunch of aliens before one pops up from the floor and drags him down, pulling
explore
away
aliens, you know?
completely to kill him off screen and render the Marines at least 50% quieter. Game over, man. While he's doing his coward's retreat, Burke opens another door to find a badass Xenomamma Jamma and bares his teeth and eats him off screen. Pretty disappointing. I think everyone wanted to watch this guy suffer. Newt has the Marines go through the air ducts to escape, but the Xenomorphs follow.
These air ducts
even
are
though
massive.
Vasquez is able to take a bunch down with their badassery and firepower, an acid blast critically slows her down. Gorman goes back to save her, but when he runs out of ammo, there's only one thing left to do. The two Marines bond over a game of upper hand on Gorman's grenade and set off an explosion that instantly kills the two of them together, as well as a couple of Xenomorphs.
I mean,
the blast knocks Newt down this windmill thing, and she winds up sliding down a little Newt chute far from safe hands. Hicks is like, good thing you regifted my friendship bracelet, because now they can use it to locate her. They find her under a floor grate, but before they can saw through it to rescue her from what surely must be some nasty, stinky water, an alien rises up from it and abducts Newt, leaving nothing behind but the head of a little doll.
Oh, that's scary.
Basically, it's just a doll. Calm down. On their way out, Hicks shoots one more alien in the face and suffers.
I gotta say, for a movie being this old, it
pretty
looks
much
great.
decommissions the guy for the rest of the movie, which is a bit of a bummer, but what are you gonna do with a chest full of acid? Bishop lands the new shuttle and the three of them get aboard, then Ripley makes
a
the
lot of
android
good
pilot it
practical
back into
effects.
the colony so she can arm herself up with a duct tape super weapon and go save Newt. She takes an elevator down to sub-level 2, and I just want to point out that the lift automatically goes back up behind her. It'll help things make sense later. She eventually finds the friendship bracelet, sans
Why
one
does it
Newt,
do
and
that?
thinks the worst has happened. But Newt's just chilling in a resin hammock. No worries. She's also getting a graphic sex ed experience when she watches an egg hatch and sees a nasty little facehugger start climbing out. She screams, which Ripley hears, and follows to her cocoon, tearing away the webbing and saving that little girl from the horrors
it's like
of
a
an alien
suspense
education.
thing.
On their way out, they find themselves smack dab in the middle of an alien's maternity ward. There's a bunch of eggs all around them, apparently each one deposited by this nasty-looking egg sac thing, and at the end of that egg sac is Big Mama Xenomorph, the queen bitch herself.
That's
Sight
the
of her
queen
puts Ripley's
alien.
heart in the basement. Her weekend's at an all-time low. Warrior Xenomorphs start approaching, so Ripley shows the queen what her flamethrower can do and points it threateningly at her eggs. The queen understands and somehow signals to the other aliens to back the fuck off. Ripley starts to retreat, but when she sees another egg hatch, she says fuck it and starts torching everything in sight.
But now
Really
all of them
upsets
are
the
gonna just
queen,
come
so
out.
much so that after Ripley and Newt escape the hive room, the queen just detaches herself from her birthing tube to give chase. Ripley makes it back to the elevator.
The queen is after her now?
The queen comes around the corner and watches as Ripley makes her escape on the first elevator. When the second elevator comes down and opens its doors, Queen's all, don't mind if I do. Ripley gets up to the platform only to find that Bishop and the shuttle are gone. The place starts falling apart.
How big
and
is
the
that
second
mama
elevator starts
alien?
automatically returning to the platform just like earlier. Package here for Ripley. Someone order an alien queen? Before Ripley can sign for it, Bishop returns with the shuttle and extends a staircase that Newt and Ripley climb up. The ship gets knocked around
android,
a bit,
isn't
and
it?
we see one of the 3 landing gears fold up. We don't see the other 2. Bishop pilots the shuttle away right as the nuclear blast goes off, ending Harper's hope once and for all, and giving the survivors the mistaken belief that their ordeal is over.
They're not
Because,
safe.
of course,
They're never
Big Mama
safe.
stowed away on that landing gear, as they learn when Bishop gets impaled through the back and spews out milk all over everyone. Nasty, dude. The alien queen lifts him up and then tears him straight in half.
Where was she
sending his
hiding?
torso sliding across the
Oh,
floor.
on
This
the
would
landing
definitely be
gear.
the golden chainsaw if it actually killed him, but it didn't. Sorry, Queen. Chainsaws are for closers. Newt hides under a floor panel as Ripley gets behind a big door, and when the queen
This is
starts
some
tearing
Lethal
off the floor
Company
grates to get
type
at Newt,
stuff.
Ripley returns with a power loader mech suit and the most memorable line of the movie.
Get away from her, you bitch!
They have a pretty kick-ass fight that involves a lot of mechanized grappling,
Okay, so the mama
and royal
alien
tail
isn't
whipping, and Queen
that
Alien
big.
almost gets Ripley with her second mouth. But eventually, Ripley is able to open the pod bay doors, and drop the Queen right down into it. Too bad the AQ latches onto her and drags her down too. Ripley starts escaping and opens the door into space, which creates a vacuum that starts sucking everything out. Newt, half a Bishop,
that would not
the
be
mech
good.
suit. Everything must go. The alien Queen tries to grab onto Ripley's kicks, but Ripley was done with that pair anyway.
Those some
So
dunks?
off comes the shoe and out goes the
Yeah,
alien
no, the
Queen,
shoe's
getting
gone.
sucked into
Let
outer
me guess, the
space,
shoe's
just
gonna
like
be
the
floating
alien
in
drone
space.
did in the original. Bishop saves Newt from a similar fate, and Ripley closes the pod bay doors, so the 3 of them can lie there in victory. Bishop is bagged like dry cleaning, and he and Hicks are put under in the stasis beds. After one last
that'd be
little
fine,
goodnight,
I guess.
Ripley and Newt join them as well. Best not sleep on this kill count, though.
So they
Is this
replaced the
sequel
cat
more
with
than
a
double
kid?
the kills of the original. How many exactly? Let's find out and get to the numbers.
Has he ever walked the other way? I feel like he did that as a
By my
joke
count,
one time.
15 humans died in
That's a
Aliens.
lot
10
more.
of them were male and 5 were female, meaning there was a 2-to-1 ratio of dudes to ladies dying. With the theatrical cut's runtime of 137 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 9.13 minutes.
That's a lot
I'll
faster.
give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to the lady colonist they found still alive. Most of these kills are quick and dark or off screen. So I'm gonna just
why do
fall
you
back on
love
the
the
old
chest
bursting
burst?
classic. Dull machete goes to Burke, hands down. All I wanted was to see this guy have a gnarly death, and goddamn did they disappoint. And that's it.
Wow.
Released in 1986, 7 years after the original, Aliens is sometimes considered the superior film, although I'm not sure if I'd agree. Regardless of the ranking, both of these are incredible movies.
I mean,
can't exactly be said about the 2 sequels that follow.
yeah,
I'll give
usually
the
it's
first
hard
of
for a
those,
sequel
Alien 3 next
to be as
week.
good as the
Until
first
then, I'm
one,
James
but
A. Janice.
Seems like they kind of did a good job
hey
with
guys,
this
thanks
one.
a lot for watching my kill count for Alien. If you missed my episode on the original film, make sure you click the thing down there to go watch it. I want to thank some of
Now,
my patrons
is the
like
next
Tim
one gonna
Ollie,
be
Aaron Slattery, and Lester
Alien
Garcia. You guys
3?
can join the Patreon family
I don't
too
know.
by clicking that button over there.
'Cause I think
I
there's
just
another
released a
video.
live commentary of The Babysitter. If you want to check that out, get in on it, man. Next
The
week is Alien
Babysitter?
3, directed by David Fincher, even though he's not a big fan of it.
What? So, oh no, it is Aliens. Oh no, it's there's Alien Resurrection. So do I skip Thanksgiving and just do Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, and then the week after that do Thanksgiving, and then I get to Jack Frost, which Jack Frost is a bad snowman, I guess? A lot of these movies I'm hearing about for the first time. I've never heard of Trick or Treat as a movie. I've never heard of Jack Frost. I've heard of Thanksgiving because I think that there was a recent movie that came out that was about like Thanksgiving killer. Black Christmas, haven't heard of that. Krampus, I didn't know that was a movie. New Year's Evil, never heard of that. Killer Clown, The King. Oh god, I was supposed to skip The Thing. I don't know if I can watch that one or not. I was told to skip The Thing because I need to watch it before I can do a kill count to it because it's too good to watch in a kill count. But a lot of these movies have been really, really good that I would have enjoyed, and I probably will still enjoy to watch as a movie afterwards. But the next one's going to be Alien 3 and probably Alien Resurrection. I learned a lot about aliens in this one. I look forward to reading your comments, which is going to be really, really informative. I read every single one of them. Like I said, I'll be live stream today at 5 p.m. starting Delta Room for the very first time, going into it completely blind. I look forward to the next kill count, but until then, take care and cue the music.